I feel like I actually don't. I'm like, what am I doing here? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything.
Welcome to Life's a Trip and I Forgot the Map, the podcast that embraces the messy, magical ride of figuring life out. I'm Misty, your host, your fellow wanderer, and here we trade perfection for permission to grow, stumble, laugh, and start over. So grab your emotional snacks, be sure to buckle up. We're in for a ride. Let's hit the road. Welcome back to Life's a Trip and I Forgot the Map, the podcast where we explore the unexpected detours, magical pivots, and the stories that shape us along the way. Today, I'm joined by someone who wears many hats: entrepreneur, co-leader of family-run fitness studio, and a woman who's been quietly and powerfully building her brand that's deeply hers. She's also someone who recently ran a half marathon. And let me just say, the strength, the transformation she's been through, both inside and out, is something I know a lot of us will connect with. What I love about her journey is how real it is, full of growth, mindset shifts, and moments where she chose to show up, even when things weren't easy. Believe me, she had some times where she wanted to quit and she still showed up. So whether you're navigating your own business, dreams, a fitness goal, or a season of personal evolution, this episode is for you. Let's welcome Josie. Josie, welcome and thank you so much for being here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. I'm super excited to be here with you. Thank you for that introduction, by the way. I feel so special. I'm super excited. How are you?
I'm fantastic, and you are very special. That's why I wanted to have you here, and I love talking with you. We have hung out for, over 3 years now.
Yeah.
On something kind of like this. And I haven't been able to talk to you and hang out with you for a little while. And it's so nice to be able to do that again. I so missed you and I'm so glad you're here. Josie, how would you describe where you are today? Not just what you do, but who you're becoming.
Great question. Well, what I do is obviously I'm in sales team with Chabaria at FLC, and also, as you mentioned, working at my mum's studio as well, and being very heavily involved there. And I think the main, great question by the way, and I've been thinking about this recently, I think the main idea I have right now of kind of where I'm at in my life and how I feel here is I'm getting to terms with the fact that I'm growing. I'm growing up, because I was talking to Chavaria the other day, and I was 19-ish when I first came into this world.
Just a baby.
I know, I see that now, but I thought I knew everything. It was like, I got this. Like I know everything. This will be easy peasy. I was wrong. I was wrong. And then I started to go through a phase of thinking, oh my God, I don't know anything at all. Like I don't know anything about anything. And that was a really scary point. And that's not over still. I still get that a lot, where I feel like I'm like, what am I doing here? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything. But recently, and why I'm happy you asked that question, so I get to say this out loud, is I'm starting to come to terms with the fact that like I do know my stuff. Family friendly program.
Yeah, you're
I do know
smooth
my
like butter.
Thank you.
Smooth like
Thank you.
butter.
Which like you would always say, and I'd always be like, thank you, but I never fully believed it. And I think right now I'm starting to believe that I am good, or I'm trying my best to be, and I do know my stuff, and whether
Which
that's
is why I would always say it, because I knew
thank
you
you.
didn't believe it.
No, thank you. Yeah, Misty knows me well. um, and yeah, it's whether that's in business or just life in general, I'm still figuring it out. I'm 23 now. Again, now I feel like an adult, but I know in a couple years' time I'm gonna look back and be like, baby. So yeah, I'm starting to that point where I'm stepping into my own, I think, which is really exciting.
That is exciting. And it's exciting to watch because you deserve to step into your own. I mean, you've always had your own, but this is like a different version of you. So is there a moment recently that you really noticed your own growth and thought, wow, I've really changed?
Yes, so many. There's so many, I feel like, little moments that piled together one day where I just thought, well, like, oh, wow, I have grown, I have changed, and a lot of it has come is to do with sales. Obviously, that's my life right now
Yeah.
is sales. And even with my mom's business, it's sales. Even if I'm dancing or I'm teaching dancing or whatever I'm doing, it's sales. So I think every time, how do I say this? Okay, I'm gonna put everything out there. I've had a conversation with, again, Shabaria recently and she said she could really see my growth too, where I'm getting on calls with these people, I'm talking to people, and I'm actually getting somewhere, if that makes sense. And it's not so much of I'm getting in my own head. And I think it has to do with what I talked about at the beginning. Like I'm stepping into my own and I'm realizing that I do know my stuff and I'm getting more confident with that. So now when I'm speaking to people, whether it's on a Zoom call, a sales call, in real life, at the studio, I'm so much more confident in that and I'm so much more confident in what I'm saying and what I'm asking and what the advice I'm giving. Whereas before I would be giving the advice and or saying something and subconsciously questioning myself in the back of my mind as I'm doing that. Like I'm
Hmm.
confident in the delivery, but in my mind I'm like, do I really know what I'm talking about? But I think now I'm much more confident with that and I do know what I'm talking about. So I think recently on a lot of sales calls is where I've noticed it the most.
Yeah. Well, because with all that training and stuff that we do, well, you do now because I kind of stepped out on a different path. But with all the training and do stuff you do and all the people you talk to, it becomes kind of second nature. You're like, oh, I already know this and this is, so you do gain that more confidence and you do have that where you're stepping out and you're like, I know what everything to say. I know how to respond. I know how to handle this. And so
Yeah.
hearing you and watching you not only grow and change throughout the years that we've known each other, the way you've stepped up and the way you speak and the way you talk to people is just become even smoother. And that's which is why I keep saying you're smooth like butter because it's just smooth and you know it and you nail it. And it's like when I was making my decision of whether or not I'm going to step out of the FLC or not, I kept sitting there thinking of you. I wanted to be up there on that mountaintop victorious with you and Shabaria and the rest of the FLC core family. And I realized, first of all, I can still do that. It's just in a different capacity. But also, I kept thinking, and this is kind of selfish and immature on my part, but I kept thinking, Josie's going to beat me. She's going to be so much more successful and so ready for being on stage and everything else. She's going to have all those opportunities that I'm letting go of. And then I kept thinking, I know this is like really off topic, but I kept thinking, that's okay because I'm creating my own path. I'm going to still be there and do those things. But like I said, it's just in a different capacity. So I'm still going to be strong. I'm still going to be, she has those opportunities, deserves them. She's going to be this. And I'm, in a way kind of jealous, but at the same time, I'm excited because not only do I get to see you grow and succeed and become even, I don't know if you can become even a better person, but what you've always wanted, right? And who you've always wanted to be. But I still get to reach my goals and dreams as well. I have everything. And when I pulled out of FLC, I kept thinking, like, I look around and I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do? I just let go of this major opportunity. It's huge. And now I'm going to end up mediocre like everybody else because I'm going to let the procrastination and the laziness side win. No, I'm not that person I was like 5 years ago. I'm not. And I kept sitting here thinking that, this isn't my place. I don't belong in this place anymore. I've changed so much being an FLC that the mindset of a freedom lifestyle creator is so ingrained in me and so much there that I'm like, I know I'm going to succeed. This is going to be fantastic. It may take me a little longer, but you know what? I'm not going to let it because I deserve this. I'm going to be right there with you. Josie, we're still talking on TED Talks together. So
Hmm.
we're
Oh
still
yeah.
doing that.
Oh yeah. And what I think is important as well is that you said, by the way, you're still going to be strong. You still are strong. You
Yeah.
still are and have been.
Thank you.
And also, when you look at, and this is for everyone watching too, when you look at successful people, everyone has, so if I ask you, think of a successful person you look up to and you admire, you and everyone watching this is going to think of someone different, probably.
Mm.
Some may have the same people, but everyone's going to think of someone different. But in everyone's mind, the person they're thinking of is obviously successful, is at the point they want to be at. They're living a life that that person wants to live, and that is success to them. But all those people that people are thinking of right now, they've all reached that in different ways, whether it's through like sales, or whether it's through podcasts, or whether it's through acting, or they've all reached that in different ways. And I think that should show people that as long as you have the wanting and the desire to be successful and have a freedom lifestyle, whatever that means for you, as long as you have that desire, you can get there. The how doesn't have to be exactly what you think the how should be, because every successful person ever has got there in a different way. There's no two exact same paths ever. If you can find two exact same paths for successful people, tell me about it, because that's crazy. So I think that's a good reminder that I need to remind myself too, because I do the same. I'm comparing myself constantly to people, and I think that's what comes along with having that mindset too, right? You're always comparing yourself to people above you. Yeah,
Absolutely.
something I used to believe about success, health, balance is that you can't have it all. That you can't have it all. You can't have good health and good wealth and good family relationships and enough sleep. Most of the world is doing that. So it's very that you can't have it all. But what I believe now, after being in this space and the the training we do, and huge shout out to Grant Cardone, obviously, which is the mentor that we have as a team and that you have too. And he preaches X and 10x everything. And he's a strong believer on you can have it all. You can have it all too. It's absolutely possible. Absolutely possible. So get out of that. Something that Bo from the Cardone team said once on one of the sales rallies that sticks with me forever. He said this in passing. I don't think it was meant to be like a thing, but it stuck with me forever because he would always do Fridays. So just before the weekend, and he was finishing up the sales rally, which is a training that us salespeople do every day. And he was saying, whatever you guys are doing on your weekend, make it 10x. If you're going to travel, 10x the travel. If you're going to go for business meetings, show up 10x, like give it your all. If you're closing deals, close 10x. And then he said, and if you're relaxing, if you're taking the weekend off, relax 10x. And that stuck with me because often we think, yes, go all in on your work, go all in on the things you know you have to do to get successful. But when it comes to time off and relaxing, I would say most of us are guilty of checking the work phone, checking the messages anyway, doing this, just replying here, I'll just reply here, reply there. And that isn't having it all. That's, again, you're putting yourself off balance. So I think now I'm seeing that you can give your all to every single part of your life. Just be aware if you're actually not doing that, you know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So just to kind of change the gears a little bit, what's it like working with your mom and being part of a family-led studio? Any lessons or surprises from that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's great. I love it. I love it. I love my mum. She is like my first and always inspiration.
You guys are like best friends, aren't you? Pretty
Yeah,
close to that,
yeah,
yeah?
yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
I would not be here or doing this without her. Let's just say that. I think it, in terms of, and I'll answer your question, but in terms of physical people, obviously I have the people I need around me online, you, the team, people. But in terms of physically, apart from like Pierre and Seb are in England, obviously I see them. So minus them, physically, she's the main person that I have to like spur me on with all this. And I would not be doing this or be doing here without her. And
we're so grateful for her.
Yeah, yeah. And growing up, obviously, I saw her do her own business, which is the studio, which I also help with. Learnings a lot. I think one of the main things that helped me when I first started sales is that I was teaching at the studio since I was 16 or 17. I was teaching large groups of adults classes and managing their complaints, their things, and doing that. And me as a little 16-year-old that felt like she didn't know what they were doing, teaching those classes of big classes of adults. I think that's really set me up for a good foundation in sales too, with talking to people. I think it taught me how to fake it till you make it, but obviously in FLC we like to say faith it till you make it, like that confidence, because even still, but especially back then, whether it was teaching a class or sales calls, I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea. I didn't even think I was that good, but I think in the way I presented myself, people thought that I was very confident and knew what I was doing and very sure of myself, which was not the case. So I think that gave me that was a good learning, a good foundation to come into sales.
Any surprises? Did you have any surprises along the way?
Yes. I think, well, maybe a surprise, but also a big learning is, how do I say this in a good way? Business can be difficult. Obviously, we preach a lot that it's easy and it doesn't have to be hard, which it is. It can be easy if you have the right information and the right people around you, and it doesn't have to be hard. Yes, there's going to be hard days. Not saying you're going to get to where you want and it's all going to be smooth sailing. Not saying that at all, but business can be easy, yes. I think, though, the older I got and the more I learned about my mum's business and the studio and the ups and downs with that, is I realized that if you don't have the right information and you don't have the support that you need, it can be quite difficult. Without saying too much, I've seen my mum go through countless challenges, whether that's just with the business in general, whether that's people involved with the business that shouldn't have been involved with the business. And the common denominator, I think, with that is she didn't have anyone to tell her, do this, do that, do it this way. It was figuring out all by herself, which has been tough, very tough. And that's why I'm so grateful and happy that I get to be a part of a team that does that for other people. Like, hey, we can lead the way for you and you don't have to go through those learnings alone. So I think that was a big surprise. The older I got, the more I realized, oh, okay, this is real. Like it's the reality of it. Just don't deserve your time. I think a big learning and a big surprise when it first happened, but it turned into a learning, is be cautious of who you're giving your time to, because not everyone deserves it. Not everyone deserves your time.
Yeah. I think a lot of times what we come up against is the mindset can be the most difficult. Dealing with customers and there's a lot of Karens out there. And dealing with a lot of those Karens, it can be very difficult when you're doing business. But I think your mindset is probably one of the biggest challenges I've seen and I've come across. So Josie, as you build your own brand, how are you finding your voice and your vision, even if it's different from what people expected? So I know going into FLC, you faced a lot of things that I've faced as well. And that's opposition from people we love and we care about. And it's not that they mean to be mean or coming from a place of negativity. It's just they don't know what we know and they don't have the vision we do. So that's what I mean by when it's different from what people expect. I am super excited to see you grow your brand and what you do with it. I'm like, where is she going to take this? What is she going to do with this? Because you are so talented and intelligent. I'm just super excited. So I'm really interested to see what that comes there.
Thank you. Me too. I think I still don't fully know where this is going, but I'm loving it. And yeah, like you said, I think we went through very similar experiences. And recently, actually, I sorted in the category of opinions from other people. I think I sorted it in my mind finally after making sense of it a little bit more into two categories, where one, it was like real. This one was real. People were actually saying these things to me. They were actually thinking this because they told me they were thinking this, and they were actually doing that. So it was real. And the other one was not real. And it was me projecting onto these people that I think they're thinking this about me. So yes, like you mentioned, when I first started in this space, I had pushback from people, a few people. And like you said, I think actually all of it, I don't think any of them were malicious. Looking back, at the time, I thought it was. At the time, I was like, how dare you? Like, I'm going to prove these people wrong. They're the da da da. I'm going to cut them out of my life. At the time, I thought it was malicious, but
Yeah, because it
um,
hurts. It hurts to hear stuff like that. But yeah.
it hurts when you see the vision so clearly and you see the path so clearly and why you're doing this so clearly, and someone comes up to you and is like, hey, questions you. It hurts, yeah. So I got defensive and I thought it was malicious. Looking back, I don't think any of it was malicious, which is good. But people will come from a place of love and worry and say some things that maybe can be said in a better way. But it's also your responsibility to realize that that's not what they actually mean by it. Yes, and then also when I first started, I would maybe because I was getting some people that actually were saying these things, or maybe this, and not maybe, I know that this is a common thing for anyone in this space too, that you think that everyone is judging you and everyone is thinking, oh, what is she doing? Like, oh, who does she think she is, posting and giving this advice and doing all this stuff, which I thought about most of the people in my life. So I was scared to post. I didn't post on my actual Instagram. I didn't post stories. I didn't repost stories that I was getting tagged in to do with FLC, which is so silly to me because now I'm like reposting everything people tag me and I'm like repost. So yes, but now that I don't really care anymore. Now I've got past the point of caring, and maybe it's that I've realized that people aren't actually thinking that. Maybe it's that I don't care, or maybe it's a mixture of both. That I know that a lot of people aren't actually, they don't care anyway, or if they are thinking that, I don't really care. So I've got past that point. So now I'm doing that, and I think I'm finding still my voice online, I guess, and I have so much to say. I have so much to say and so much to share. And I think I'm finding my way of doing that, um, which I'm still working out. And I'm still, to be very honest and upfront, it still plays in my mind that people will think, who is she? Like the fact that I've only been doing this for 3 years, which I know is a long time, but for some people it's not. The fact that I'm a woman still comes up. The fact that I'm
You're young.
young, yeah, which was a thing when I started at 19, and it's still a thing. Which I know I'm not. There's people who are 20 that are out there doing things, but in my mind, I that's what I think people are going to think. Like, who is she to share all this? Why should I listen to her? So I'm finding, yeah, I'm finding that. And in terms of my brand, I want to be someone that the people look to that might relate, like my old self when I was first starting, and like share all of that honestly so people can relate and see that you're just being silly because people aren't thinking that. And yeah, so I'm still finding that, and I don't know where it's going. I don't know where it's going to take me. I don't know where it's going to end up, but I know it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it is going to be. And I'm super excited for that, for to wait and see what you do, because if you guys have never seen Josie before or don't know who she is, you guys need to follow her. She is absolutely fantastic. Like I said, she's intelligent, she's funny, she can joke around. I mean, like, if we joke around about Seb and Pierre, there's a whole reason behind that because they're amazing people as well. We love them dearly, but there's like a sibling rivalry between all three of them, and it's funny and hilarious to be around and see. And you're just incredibly amazing. And I'm just in awe of how incredible you are.
Thank you.
So I'm super excited to see what all you do. And I'm one of your number one fans. So I'm here for the entire ride. So
Yeah.
what's one challenge you faced running a business that taught you something major about yourself? Maybe not necessarily about the business, but about you yourself.
Good question. I think I'll go something that I realized I need to work on, and also something that I think I realized that I was good at. I'll do a little bit of both. I think
Okay.
something I realized that I needed to work on in myself, and something that is definitely something that projects into your business and into my business and what I'm doing here at FLC, is getting shit done. I'm a procrastinator, was a
Me
procrastinator.
too.
I'm doing everything I can to change that. Yeah, that's something I realized, that if you want success and you want to achieve your goals, whether it's short-term goals, like daily goals that lead into your long-term goals, you need to work fast, and you need to do and what I mean by that is you need to do what you know you need to do quick. If you know you need to reach out to that person, do it. If you know you need to make that call, do it. If you know you need to add something to the back end, do it now. You know you need to train, do it. Success loves speed. And that's a huge thing I've learned and continue to learn, because we continue to get lessons until we learn our lesson, right? So I'm still there, to be honest with you. But that's a huge learning I've learned. And the times where I do that, I know I need to do something, I do it. I feel so good. I feel so accomplished. I can take on the world. It
I
makes
was
such a difference.
productive. I did this
Yeah,
really
right?
awesome. Yes. And it
Which,
didn't take as long.
exactly, which is a huge learning I've learned about myself, and something that definitely is mirrored into your business. Whether you're that type of person or not, you're going to see that in your business. Like, something huge I've noticed about Seb and Shabaria is, if there's something that needs to be doing, they do it then and there. If we're on a Zoom call and something comes up, oh, this needs to be done, they do it then and there, and then it's done. So that's a huge thing I've learned. The successful people do things, and they do things fast, and they get it done.
Yeah.
Something I think I've learned about myself that I like is, I think I'm quite a people's person, which I didn't always think that, because I was so shy as a kid. Oh my God, Misty, you know this. I've said this to you before.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I did as a kid, I did dancing, like ballet, I did theatre, I did circus, I did so many sports, team sports especially, because my dad was big on me doing team sports. But every single thing I did, I needed to be shoved into by my physically. I remember going to do circus and aerial, and my mum physically having to push me in the room and shut the door. And then I was just there, and the teacher was like, come on in. I had no choice. So when I say I needed to be pushed into these things, I mean physically pushed through the door. I was so shy, I cried, and I didn't want to speak to anyone. Someone would speak to me and I'd cry. I couldn't order at a restaurant by myself until too old. So I never thought I was that good at being a people's person, but um, the studio has a huge part to play in this, and then FLC has a huge part to play in this, that I'm pretty good with people. I strongly believe I could talk to anyone. I could have a conversation with anyone. The old, young, male, female, same beliefs as me, different beliefs as me, which I think is an important thing to do, to have something that you will acquire, a skill you will acquire if you're in
Yeah.
sales and business. Whether you like it or not, you will acquire that skill. So, yeah.
So, do you appreciate the fact that your parents physically had to push you into doing something?
Oh, yeah.
Do you
Oh,
think
yeah,
that helped bring you out of your shell?
for sure. I think because as a kid, I always wanted to do those things. Every time I would go to the theatre, I'd be jealous of the kids on the stage because I wanted so bad to do that. And I always wanted to play sport. Like, netball was my first sport that I did competitively for a few years. I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to do aerial, like the climbing the silks, all that jazz. I saw my friends perform that a couple of times. So all these things I always really deep down wanted to do. I was just so incredibly shy and anxious as a kid that I would never, ever, ever had done any of those things if my parents didn't physically push me through the door and sign me up. And I'm so glad they did, because I learned so much, and I still remember, like, I was young in most of these. I still remember my theatre classes and my dance classes and my first netball training and getting picked for the team and stuff like that. So yeah, for sure. I'm super glad.
I'm awesome. That's awesome. I'm awesome. That's awesome.
You
It's like,
are awesome. You are.
I was like trying to say something else and they just kind of, my things got mixed up. So
Truth
it's all
came
good.
out.
Yeah. So let's talk about the half marathon. What made you say yes to it? And did the journey teach you anything?
So, here's my medal. It's for proof.
Yeah.
Half
Awesome.
measure. I will not wear that. I will not be that person.
Oh,
What
come
made
on, Josie.
No, I wore it the whole day. Don't worry, the whole day of. I wore it around everywhere. I
Good.
haven't worn it since. It's been hanging up. What made me say yes to it? Seb, my good friend Seb Williams, who, if you're watching part of the FLC community, you probably know, and if you don't know, get to know Seb Williams. I actually remember when we went to go see Chabaria do her TEDx talk in Swansea, Wales, which was December of 2023, I
Yeah, that's been
believe,
I can't believe
which
it's
is
been that
crazy.
long.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember we were there for 2 nights, and Seb told me to bring my trainers because we were going to go on a run. Seb is a run, like he's a runner. He's run for a while, and I won't say forced because obviously you can't force someone to run. We went on a 5K run together there, and it was really nice. And it took some convincing. If you ask him, I'm not a I mean, I run, like I did track and field as a kid as well, and I used to really like running, especially like 800 meter. I would always race at sports day and stuff, so I liked running, but when it came to doing like 5Ks and training for like doing running as a hobby, I was like so uninterested. But I went on that 5K run with him, and it was actually pretty good. And then I got that competitive spark of I want to beat my time. I want to do that again and beat my time. And then I did it, and I was like, I want to beat that time. And then that kind of started, but I wasn't really running that much. I was kind of just doing 5Ks every now and again, trying to beat my time. Um, and then I can't remember how it came about, but there was the Brighton Half Marathon, which we all did, Seb, Pierre, and I. And it came, one of us got an ad for it or something and sent it to the group, and then they both signed up. They both said, we should do it. They both signed up. And then they were like, come on, Josie, your turn. So I was kind of in a place, and it's Brighton, like I live here. So I was like,
You can't really get away
now
from
I
it.
they're going to come all the way down to Brighton to run this race that's in my hometown. I can't not do it. So then I signed up, and then I was like, oh, shit, I should train. So I did about 16 weeks of training and then ran it. And I did it. And I've got the bug. And now I want to do it again. So I actually am doing another one in August with Seb and Pierre. So that's how that came about. Learnings, we could do a whole episode on that. It taught me, I think I said this to you and a couple of people, training for a half marathon taught me so much about business, which is like, what? It taught me so much about myself, discipline, and business. I think the biggest thing it taught me, about going into taking about half an hour on this one question, the single biggest thing it taught me is to do the hard things because your future self will thank you. Do today what other people don't want to do or won't do so that tomorrow you can do the things that people can't do because they didn't do the thing that you did the other day. And I had that realization with running. Like I didn't, that was how I must have done about, I don't know, like 50, 60 runs in that training. Maybe 5 of them I actually wanted to do and was actually like excited to do. The other 55 or 50 runs I did not want to do. I didn't want to get out of bed. It was winter too. It was November till the race was in March, so it was rainy, it was cold, it was dark in the morning, it was dark in the evening. I did not want to do it, but I did most of them. I did about 99% of them. There was some that I didn't do, and I would always feel so good after. Which people tell you that all the time, like, yeah, okay, it's easy to forget, but and then that allowed me to run the damn thing. If it got to the day and I didn't do any of that, I would not have been able to do that. So yeah, that's a huge thing, and that taught me, like in business, do the training, do the doings, do what you need to do today, because one day you're going to find yourself in a situation on a call, an offer comes to you, you want to put an offer out, and you're not actually ready because you didn't do the things leading up to that. So yeah, that was a huge learning.
Awesome. I'm so glad you did that. Mindset shifts that happened either before or during the training. I think you kind of touched on it a little bit because you said it taught you a lot about business. So obviously you had some kind of mind shift.
Yeah, I think mindset shifts, I'll say that 3 times fast. Mindset shifts wise. One, that I can do hard things and you can do hard things. What seems impossible. When I was running the 5K every now and again, a half marathon, even a 10K, which is half of a half marathon. So a half marathon is 21 kilometers. Even a 10K seemed impossible. I was like, how? There's no way people run that without stopping, or even run that with stopping and with what. There's no way people do that. It seemed impossible. But then the more obviously I worked up to it, the more it seemed possible, and the more I realized that I am actually capable if I do the training. So that was a mindset shift, that what seems impossible, people are doing. And you just follow what they did to get there, and you can do it too. You can do hard things.
So what did the crossing the finish line feel like? Like physically, emotionally, spiritually? What did that feel
Mm.
like for you?
Do you know what? At the time, all I was thinking is, God, thank God that's over. To be so honest with you, there was no euphoria like at the very time of finishing. I was happy. I was doing that final kilometer, and I had the crowds were amazing, by the way. And I was happy, and I was like, yeah, but finishing, all I was thinking is, I am tired and I want to go home and my legs hurt and I'm kind of cold already because I've just stopped running and it's windy and it's the seafront and I'm sweaty and I can taste salt on my face and my feet hurt. That's all I was thinking. And I was getting my medal, I was getting the water, and I was like, I need to find 7 p.m. and I need to sit down. But then like 5 minutes after, when I was found them and everything, it was so fun. It was so much fun, and the atmosphere, and just realizing that everyone around you had just done the same thing as you. They were all wearing the same medal. They all trained for that. Hopefully, some people do it without training, not naming any names, but everyone around you, which is annoying because he still beat me and didn't train anyway. Whatever.
He does
I'm
his
over it.
yoga every day, so he's
I
still in
know.
shape and ready for
He's
stuff like that. It's like,
he is, and he bikes and everything, but yeah,
yeah.
that was super impressive. But anyway, people had trained for that, and it was just such a nice atmosphere. And then I, by that evening, laying in bed, I was like, when's the next one? When can I do that again? When can I put myself through that torture again? It's like people say when you give birth, your brain forgets the pain because
Yeah.
naturally your body, like, you want
The
to.
endorphins kick in and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like your brain forgets the pain. I think that happens with marathons and half marathons because I was for about half an hour afterwards, I was like, never again. During the first half, I was having a lot of fun. The second half, I wanted to crawl up in a ball and stay there. I saw my mum about halfway through and I nearly cried. I was like, I can't do this. Yeah, so the first hour I was like, never again. And then that night I was like looking up when the next when there's more to do. Which I'm doing another one in August. So yeah.
That's awesome. So do you have any advice that you'd give someone who's feeling stuck or unsure about starting something new, whether it's a run, a brand, or even a big personal shift?
I think my main piece of advice would be, don't overthink it. A lot of the time when we're starting something new, whatever it is, in any area of your life, when we're starting something new, it seems like this big, scary thing in our mind. And we don't know how we're going to get there. We don't know what the journey is going to be like. We don't know where to start. And everything feels very messy and big in our minds. So don't overthink it. All you need to do is take the first step. If it's training for a half marathon, you download a training program. You ask ChatGPT, that's what we did. Or you ask your friend, or you go on a run. You just go on a run, whatever, whether it's like starting a business, just make your funnel, make your pay, make your Instagram, whatever it is, just do the first step and the rest will figure itself out. So don't overthink it. You don't need to know everything. That's a big misconception that I see a lot of people make, is they think they need to know everything and be a master at everything first, and then they can start, and then they can launch, and then they can start talking to people. No, no, no. That comes first. You need to run first to get good at running. You need to talk to
Mm-hmm.
people first to get good at talking to people. Same with anything. So yeah, that would be my advice. Don't overthink it and just take the first step, and the path will figure itself out.
I love that. You have to walk, you have to crawl before you can walk.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
what's lighting you up right now? What's next in your journey? What's got Josie so excited?
I think what has me very excited these days, and I mentioned this somewhere recently, I can't remember, is becoming the person I really want to be, and like that in my mind, the person that's like I want to be that person, and making a lot of effort to actually be that now. It's so much fun. It's so much fun to kind of act like the person you want to be. And it's not easy. It's not always easy because the person I want to be does things that I don't want to do. So I need to do that. But that's something I've been doing recently. And it's so much fun. And some people
Mm-hmm.
might say that that's faking it till you make it, but I don't think so, because if you're being that person now, then you are that person now. So it's not fake. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it
Yeah.
gets more comfortable each day to do that. So you become more of that person.
It's like you already are that person. You're just living it now instead of
Exactly.
waiting
Yeah.
for it to come. You're just accepting it and letting it out.
Yeah. Exactly. And sooner or later it's going to start to be second nature. You're not going to have to think I should do this because that's what I want. It's just going to be second nature, and then you will really be that person. And the thought behind that is because I have goals. I have big goals and big visions for the next few years. Next few years, and then next how many ever years.
Yeah.
And the only way I'm gonna be able to do that is if I am that person that is doing those things. And if we're honest with ourselves, and I was honest with myself, the person I was being now isn't the person that's doing those things. So I need to change that to do that sooner, because I want to do it now. I want to
I
achieve
know,
those things
right?
now.
I want to live it now, not later. Now.
Yeah,
It gets so frustrating. I get to where I'm like, I want to do this now.
I
Like I was
know.
telling Chabaria one day that in my mind, I'm already a multimillionaire and I want to go out and start, buying just whatever and not worrying about the money. I will have to stop myself from grabbing my keys to the car and going,
Hmm.
okay, wait a minute. Your mindset is in this place. This is where you are in your mind. Your bank account hasn't caught up yet. Just chill
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like,
Chill.
it's like, I want it now. I want it now. I want to do it now.
Yeah, exactly.
This has been so awesome. Thank you so much, Josie, for being here and for being so open and honest and full of grounded wisdom. Your journey is such a beautiful reminder that growth doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it's steady, soulful, and happening right in the middle of everyday life. I know someone listening just got inspired to take the first step, whether it's towards a dream, a race, a deeper version of themselves. You can follow Josie and everything she's up to. I'll link her info below. If this episode resonated with you, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow Josie as well. Share her stuff. Subscribe to her because she's one, like I said with Akshiti. Josie's another one you want to follow and you want to really keep an eye on. She's doing massive things and changing thousands of lives on a daily basis. So be sure to follow her and keep up with her, what she's doing. And maybe send this to a friend who could use a little extra motivation today. Until next time, take the scenic route, toss the map, and be gentle with yourself. Life's a trip, and we're in it together. I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of Life's a Trip. If you're figuring it out as you go, same here. Hit follow, leave a review if you're feeling generous. And remember, you don't need the whole map, you just need the next step.